Eric Trump, thank you for joining me on the show. You're the author of Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save Our Nation, which is #1 New York Times bestseller. And I read that you're donating all the proceeds to Turning Point USA in honor of Charlie Kirk. I mean, that's an incredible gesture.
Donating a lot of the proceeds to Charlie. Wrote him a big check, and thanks, Alex. And by the way, I can tell you, New York Times did not want to give me the #1 bestseller.
No, they didn't.
They certainly did not want to. I think we sold more books in the first week than 2 through 10 on their list combined times a few. So it was a great honor. But listen, this country was under siege. It is under siege. It's under siege by a lot of radical people. They tried to destroy the country. They're the most corrupt group of people that anybody could have ever imagined. I mean, go back to Russiagate, go back to the dirty dossiers, go back to the sham impeachments, go back to the raids of Mar-a-Lago, my father's room. I mean, these are some of the most corrupt people, and my father's in there right now, and he's weeding them out, and yet you see it every single day. I mean, who would have ever thought Minnesota would have been what it is today? And if that doesn't make you question election integrity, based on the fact that they're finding, tens and tens and tens of billions of dollars of financial fraud, yet these people go out and say that, it's not possible for them to go out and rig elections, which, based on 2020 results, we probably know is less than correct. But it's just our country's under siege by these people, and we've got to fix it. And my father's doing that every day.
Yeah, it's very well put, and it absolutely is a siege. I've been calling them Confederates, insurrectionists. There's almost secessionists. What's going on? This really is a microcosm of what happened to your family, but they're using legal means and using political, the political apparatus as best they can, but also the activist class, the money class, the donor class, to fund the subversion of our system. And yet, you don't see a single Democrat, single liberal out there saying, well, this is really too far. They're just defending Somali fraudsters here, and we should really just clean up these cities and admit sometimes that not everything is perfect in some of these blue areas. But not a single one of them is doing that. In fact, they're coming after the ICE agents. They're talking about impeaching any elected official who might be standing up against the Somali fraudsters. I know that none of this is a surprise to you, but in the context of you having gone through this on a personal level, what's your reaction?
Oh, it's a huge surprise to me, right? I mean, it's not in one way, and it's not in another way. It's so grossly insane that it almost is, right? I mean, you see it on both ends of the spectrum. I mean, listen, Letitia James in New York came after us for $500 million when every one of our banks came out and testified that we're the greatest, one of the greatest clients that they've ever had, that we were platinum borrowers, we never missed a payment, we were perfect, right? I mean, run a perfect organization. She tried to get us for $500 million, saying that Mar-a-Lago was worth $18 million, right? And I mean, they wanted to do anything they could to put us out of business. They wanted to take the company. They wanted our name off every building around. Yet, you see, Learning Center or whatever the hell they were calling it, right? And Leering Center.
Yeah, Leering Center.
You see these child cares that are supposed to be child cares, are supposed to be educating kind of the youth of America, and they have no kids at them. They're total shams. You see these transportation services, and no one's using them, but they're just driving around all day, billing the government. You see the same thing with the healthcare. And no one gives a damn, and it's billions and billions and billions of dollars. So, they're willing to come after us, all because our last name is Trump, and because we, ran as Republicans, but they don't actually give a damn about the fraud that's happening in this country, and they're not willing to do anything about it. As grossly insane as it is, I mean, you think the governor, you'd think, Tampon Tim would be standing up and going absolutely crazy, and he's not doing a damn thing about it. No. I mean, obviously they all knew about it. They all knew this thing was a sham, but they needed the Somali vote.
Yeah.
And so, it's disgusting what politics has become. And, thank God for my father, and thank God for you, and thank God for, loud voices, and thank God you had enough people to stand up with enough courage and say, this is insane, and this is what's happening, and expose it for the entire country to see, because, the citizens of this country are they see right through this stuff. They really do. Yeah. Now on each, the Democrats will try and hide it, but you're not hiding this, right? This comes as almost no surprise to the vast majority of Americans who are disgusted by what's happening in this country. Hence the reason my father won won the swing states. Hence the reason we won the popular vote. Hence the reason he won places like Miami-Dade by 12 points. A county that had never been run by a Republican, or hasn't been won by a Republican in 40 years.
Yeah, I think what's important here is not just the Somali vote, it's the criminal vote. And that's really what's important to them. Is the dead tend to vote Democrat, the illegal aliens tend to vote Democrat, and the criminals tend to vote Democrat. And That's a real thing that we have to confront. Is one of the major parties in this country has a completely illegal voter base in many ways. But I want to talk to you about something that is so important that we on the right are missing, is that we were in such dark times, and you more than maybe any other person aside from your father had to deal with this as head of the Trump organization, that you were the most subpoenaed citizen, I would say, at least civilian, maybe in history, over nothing. Everything was nothing. I wrote a whole book about how nothing it was myself, called Breaking the Law, that people know about. And I'll tell you, Eric, we are a little too down now, I feel like some people in our movement, because things could be so much worse. And if we drop our guard and we lose ever again, we have to fight. We have to keep fighting, because we can't lose, because we will go back to the dark ages if we don't get focused.
Yeah, listen, I think that's right, and that's why I hate some of the dissent that you see out there. At the same time, I think that the main difference, go back to 2016, Alex, right? And we all lived this.
Yeah.
The whole country was so starry-eyed to the actual political process, right? And they're not anymore. And I actually think maybe my father's greatest achievement, I mean, he's created the greatest economy, he's created the greatest military, he's done such incredible things around the world, he's solved so much peace. I mean, you can go down the list of accolades of things that he's kind of achieved, from kind of a qualitative and quantitative standpoint. But maybe the thing that he'll actually achieve the most is kind of educating Americans on what was actually happening to the country and opening their eyes to the nonsense, right? And
yeah.
this goes across the spectrum of, the corruption in this country, kind of, the political operatives, how they work, the way the system is weaponized, the way the media in this country is weaponized, the way that we are getting ripped off by every country around the world, the fact that free trade wasn't actually free, it was the exact opposite of free, the fact that tariffs might actually work, the fact that you can stand up and have backbone and not be politically correct, and you can build the wall, and you can kick bad people out of our country, and you can clean up Washington, D.C. in 14 days and stop all crime, and 1,000 other things that he's proven to the American people. And you know what? You're not taking that out of their heart and soul. You're just not. I mean, he's woken up this entire country, him and frankly, a lot of us, right, including the Charlie Kirks of the world and so many other people. We've all woken up this country, but really led by him. You've turned entire bases of people. You've turned them to a different side, and you're not losing that. You're not going to lose the fundamentals of those kind of policy topics and this movement.
This is Eric. I brought this up in my opening, and this fits perfectly to what you're saying. Is that I think one of the things that your father has to go up against in Washington is that he comes up with ideas that other people could have come up with, and they didn't. And they spend decades in Washington, and they all think tariffs are not going to work, and then they work perfectly. No one considers, well, should we really go get Greenland? I bet we could, and it'll give us a great strategic military advantage in the Arctic and in Europe. They also have resources that could counter China. China's trying to encroach on Greenland anyway. And it's such a great idea when you think about it. And then no one else had that idea. And I feel like he embarrasses them in that way. And I feel like that might be part of some of the opposition.
Oh, there's no question about it. But remember, I mean, let's think back to the days. I mean, I can't believe I keep on reflecting back to kind of 2016, but let's go back to the days. What does Donald Trump know about foreign policy, right? This was Hillary Clinton. I'm a foreign policy expert. Like, what did she know about foreign policy? They got us into every single war. They destroyed our nation. We were getting ripped off by everybody. And then it took a tough business guy from New York to go in there, and who, by the way, had traveled substantially more of the world than probably she had, right? But what did Biden know about foreign policy? He knew nothing about foreign policy other than how to extract money for his son out of the Ukraine. I mean, that's all the guy knew about foreign policy. And yet these are the things that you heard about all the time. Oh, yes, he's not going to be stable with the nuclear button. Yet he's the only president in U.S. history that hasn't gotten us into a war. In fact, has kept us out of ground wars, right? And so, and you hear this all the time. I mean, you heard it with the economists as well. Yeah. Exact same point. Tariffs are going to create incredible inflation. In fact, the inflation's done the exact opposite.
Right.
He's brought billions of dollars back into this country. He's rebuilding America with it and America's wealth with it. I mean, when was the last time you saw a president go out and negotiate every country's trade deals individually, suck trillions of dollars of inward investment from those companies, put tariffs on them, and then require them to go buy our airplanes from a company like Boeing, who has had a rough couple of years for a whole host of reasons? Yep. I mean, you've never seen a president be that involved.
So clever.
I mean, It's incredible. It's great to see him do it. And the guy's, by the way, the guy's not sleeping. The guy works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I played the clip yesterday of Robert Kennedy saying he's the most energetic person anyone's met ever. So I got 2 minutes left, Eric. I want to ask you about American Bitcoin, which is your crypto enterprise that you've got. And I am bullish on crypto, but you saw last week Mayor Eric Adams apparently doing a rug pull crypto SHIT coin. I can't say the word on air, but hopefully I can spell it. I don't get in too much trouble. But the crypto has a bit of a crisis in confidence, and you're seeing against that. I want to get your take here, your reaction, and any action items for the audience.
Yeah, listen, I think crypto is reinventing the financial industry, and take out the SHIT coins, right? As you just said, take those out, because I don't even view that as crypto, right? Those are novelty projects. Crypto is redefining the financial industry. Bitcoin is probably the single greatest appreciating asset over the last decade. I mean, it's gone up by roughly 70% year over year on average for the last decade. There's no asset anywhere on earth that's appreciated more than Bitcoin has over that period of time. And so Bitcoin has become an absolute store of value. Bitcoin has become digital gold. American Bitcoin, the company I have, we're mining Bitcoin using, Texas Energy, American Energy, but we're doing it all in West Texas. We're mining Bitcoin for roughly, 50 cents on the dollar, to the spot price of BTC. But the entire world is picking up crypto. It's the way that the money is going to, flow around the world. It's going to replace the SWIFT, transfer system. It's happening every single day. And Bitcoin is growing faster than the internet was. I mean, Bitcoin, the crypto is roughly where the internet was in 1999, and it's the growth has been explosive. So forget about the novelty projects. Forget about the BS. Crypto is real. It's here to stay, and it's changing the financial industry, and it has explosive growth. I mean, there's probably nothing in the world that I'm more bullish on.
American Bitcoin is his Bitcoin company, abtc.com. Under Siege is Eric's excellent book, which I read. We did a deep dive interview on that. I'll link that up in the show notes, wherever you get your podcast. Eric Trump, it's really great to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Great to be on, Alex.